If you have a website, you really need to hear this. We are about to crack the code on real website accessibility testing, the part that almost everybody misses. So let's just dive right in.
I want to start with a number, 30%. That's roughly how many accessibility problems those popular one-click scanning tools will actually find on your site. I mean, it's a start for sure, but it is not the whole story. It's not even close.
And that, right there, leads to the most important question. What about that other 70%? See, this is the massive blind spot where real human beings get stuck, they get frustrated, they hit these show-stopping barriers online. It's a gap most website owners don't even know is there.
You know, it's so tempting to run a quick scan, get a nice little score, and think, okay, we're good. But that feeling, that's the myth of the one-click fix. The truth is, those automated tools are just the very first step. True accessibility, true usability, well, that takes a much deeper, human-centered approach.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of how to test, we've got to understand the why. Everything, and I mean everything, in web accessibility is built on 4 core principles. They're the foundation for every single test we're about to talk about. And here they are. These are the 4 pillars from the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG for short. Is your site perceivable, meaning can users actually see or hear the content? Is it operable? Can they use the buttons and the navigation? Is it understandable? Is everything clear and not confusing? And is it robust? Does it work with assistive tech, not just today but in the future? Every test we do is basically trying to answer these 4 questions. Okay, so let's talk about where you start, the automated first pass. I like to think of these tools as your website's spell checker. You know, they are fantastic at catching obvious technical mistakes, but they completely miss the bigger picture, the nuance, the context, the meaning behind the words.
Here's the core difference, laid out plain and simple. Automated tools, super fast, easy to scale, and a great starting point for finding that first 30% of technical bugs. But manual, human-led testing, that is the essential follow-through. That is how you find the other 70%, the issues that mess up the actual human experience.
So what tools are we talking about here? Well, you've got some great browser extensions like Wave and Axe DevTools. Google's own Lighthouse tool is built right into Chrome, and there are even command line tools like Pal11 if you want to get fancy and build testing into your code. These are the perfect first step to just get a baseline.
And now for the most important part of this whole thing. We're moving beyond the code and into the human experience. This is where we start finding the kind of problems that a machine, an algorithm, simply cannot see. I want you to try something. Seriously, next time you're at your computer, just unplug your mouse. Or put it aside. Now, try to use your website. Can you do it? This one simple question is the gateway to one of the most powerful manual tests you can possibly perform.
And here's exactly how you do it. Just use the Tab key to move forward through all the links and buttons, and Shift-Tab to go backward. Can you get to everything? Use the Enter and Spacebar keys to activate stuff. Use your arrow keys to get around inside menus, and use the Escape key to close any pop-ups. It's such a simple test, but wow, it reveals so much.
As you're tabbing around, keep an eye out for these classic problems. Can you even tell where you are on the page? That little outline is called the focus indicator. Does the tab order make sense, or does it jump all over the place? And then there's the worst one. Can you get stuck in a pop-up or a menu, unable to tab out? That's a keyboard trap, and it is incredibly frustrating.
All right, so you've tested without a mouse. Now for the next crucial step. Let's try to imagine using your website without being able to see it at all. This is where we get into screen reader testing, and it is absolutely essential for users who are blind.
So what even is a screen reader? Well, it's a piece of software that literally reads the screen out loud. It converts text and interface elements into synthesized speech or even Braille. For millions of people, this isn't just some neat tool, it's their main way of using the internet. And the cool part? You have one already. They're built right into your computer. VoiceOver on a Mac and Narrator on Windows.
A screen reader test isn't about code, it's about context. It uncovers things like, is there a good heading structure so someone can skim the page? Is a link just labeled, click here? Click here for what? Is that super important photo described with good alt text, or is it just silent? This is the kind of stuff that automated tools miss 100% of the time.
And of course, accessibility is about way more than just these 2 scenarios. Real human-led testing has to account for this huge spectrum of diverse needs and abilities that people have.
For example, here's a super simple one for users with low vision. Zoom your browser in to 200%. Does the page just break? Or even worse, do you suddenly have to scroll left and right to read a single sentence? Your content should just neatly reflow into a single, readable column. What about for users with motor disabilities, who might have tremors or just not have that fine motor control? Are your buttons and your links big enough to be easily tapped without accidentally hitting the wrong thing? The general rule of thumb is a target size of at least 44 by 44 pixels. That small change makes a world of difference. And for users with cognitive disabilities, like issues with memory or attention, it all comes down to clarity and consistency. Are your instructions simple and to the point? When you get an error message, does it actually help you fix the problem? Is the navigation predictable as you move from page to page?
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial point. All of these tests are amazing, but if you only do them once as a big audit, you're kind of missing the point. To do this right, you have to shift your thinking from a one-time fix to an ongoing practice that's just part of your team's culture.
So what does that look like in the real world? It means testing isn't the last step before you launch. It's part of every step. You test new features while you're building them. You check new content before it goes live. And yeah, you still do those deeper, comprehensive audits on a regular schedule, maybe quarterly, to catch anything that's slipped through the cracks.
You know, this quote really just nails it. Accessibility testing is not a one-time activity, but an ongoing process that should be integrated into your development workflow. It's not a project. It's a commitment. It's just part of how you work now.
And that leaves us with one final thought. I want you to take a hard look at your own process and ask this question. Are you just checking boxes to meet some legal standard, or are you genuinely trying to build a better, more inclusive experience for real people? Because here's the secret. When you build for people, compliance usually takes care of itself.